people with profound diversities and opportunities. We are bound by destiny to be the largest and greatest Black nation on earth. At this stage in our nationhood, it is important that we reflect how we got here to enable us work together to get to where we aspire to be as a strong, indivisible nation, united in hope and equal in opportunity. On October 1st, 1960, when Prime Minister Alhaji Abubakar Tafawa Balewa received the constitutional instruments symbolizing Nigeria's independence, he expressed his wish that having acquired our rightful status as an independent sovereign nation, history will record that the building of our nation proceeded at the wisest pace. This optimism was anchored on the peaceful planning, full and open consultation, and harmonious cooperation with the different groups, which culminated in Nigeria emerging as a country without bitterness and bloodshed. Our founding fathers understood the imperative of structuring a national identity.
Yeah. Good afternoon, Nigerians. Good afternoon, all our viewers across the globe. You're welcome once again to your program, our program, Straight Talk. My name is David Lucas. Like you know, we always stream on Facebook and YouTube, and you can reach us on Touch Radio Nigeria. Welcome. Now, the voice you heard there from the introduction is that of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari. That was a speech he delivered yesterday at the Eagle Square, Abuja, for the independence celebration. And in that speech, he said a lot of things which they are so touchy. You know, he spoke about the 29 years of military rules out of 60 years of independence. And also, he made mention of why the oil price, you know, cannot be reversed. You know, he put the blame so much on past administrations from 1990 before he took over power in 2015. But that notwithstanding, we are going to be looking at Nigeria at 60. We are still in the mood of the independence, and I believe you are going to really enjoy yourselves, you know, today. I have a lot of people that are going to be joining us, you know, apart from the interviews we had, you know, behind the scene. We also have 2 analysts that will be joining us today on the program. I have all the way from the United States of America, from Texas City. I have Mr. Osariti Ojeduma. He is a HR expert. And also I have Mr. Ose Iza Obodo. He is an author, a poet, and a blogger. They are going to be joining me, you know, shortly on the program. I'll be right back after this time out. Welcome back. You are reaching us via Facebook or YouTube, that is on Touch Radio Nigeria. You are on the program Straight Talk with David Lucas. Now, let's go to the business, of today. Like I told you earlier, we are looking at Nigeria at 60. We are still in the mood of the independence. Now, there are a lot of things that we need to look at today, but I just pray that at the time will be enough for us to look, at them all. But that notwithstanding, the economy of Nigeria has been, is battered already. The economy that is single-handedly, run through the revenue from oil, over the years. Now I want to play a tape, maybe we start from there. From there, we come back, then we look at Nigeria economy anchored on oil, then the struggle for independence, then also we shall be looking at the military incursions into Nigerian politics. Now let's listen to that tape, on the oil.
Touch Radio, your first companion in infotainment.
7,000 metric tons, making Nigeria the largest exporter of palm oil in the world. The sector played a significant role in the country's per capita income, helping to reduce our poverty level and maintain a dominant status as the biggest economy in Africa.
There is this general thinking that as at 1960, Nigeria was at par with a number of countries. Indonesia, Brazil, India, Malaysia, Singapore. Can we say we are at par today? Definitely not. So we should begin to interrogate what we did and they did, and what we did and they did not do.
But over the years, the exploration of crude oil and the huge foreign exchange accrued for its export, which would have consolidated on the country's economic growth, became the bane of our underdevelopment. As the price of crude oil increased, generating huge foreign exchange earning for the country, the Nigerian government paid less attention to the agricultural sector, leading to urban migration as rural farmers moved to the cities in search of white-collar jobs. This development affected agricultural production in many regions of the country and reduced the export of cash crops such as palm oil, groundnut, and cotton. It was only a matter of time for the country to solely depend on crude oil export for our survival.
How have we utilized the oil resources? The resources that we've generated from oil over the years, how have we been able to use them for development?
With an alarming unemployment rate and increasing poverty level in Nigeria, economic experts are worried that 60 years after independence, successive administrations have failed to use the huge earnings from crude oil export to properly harness the resources scattered across the country to diversify the economy and improve the lives of the people.
So we have to go back. Oil, that's what they call the resource cost. Oil has been more of a cost to us in Nigeria than a blessing.
I think that the prayer of the average Nigerian is to ensure that at least we overcome some of the problems if we cannot overcome all of them. Otherwise, it's becoming a pathetic situation that can gravitate into Nigeria as a failed state. There's no doubt about it.
For now, Nigerians are hopeful that the present administration will fulfill its promise of diversifying the economy for the growth and development of the country.
Touch Communications, your best companion in infotainment.
Nigeria joined the League of Oil Producers in 1958 after the discovery of oil in Olobokere in Delta region of Nigeria, and that in 1956. Now, 62 years of producing oil What do we have to show for it? Now, let me put this question to my analyst, my guest this afternoon. Mr. Ojeduma, are you there?
I'm here.
Are you with me?
Yes, I am here and I hear you loud and clear.
Good afternoon, Mr. Osareti Ojeduma.
Yes, can you hear me?
Unmute yourself and speak. Unmute and speak.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
Hello, Mr. Ojeduma.
Can you hear me? Yes, I am speaking. Can you hear me?
Just unmute and speak.
Hello, can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you clearly. I can hear you clearly, Mr. Ojeduma. Welcome to my program.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, I from what you just have from the tape you listened to. Now, and I said, when Nigeria joined the the League of Oil Producers in 1958, after oil was discovered in Nigeria in 1956, and I calculated everything to be 62 years of producing oil in Nigeria, and today it's like nothing is working, because the country is solely dependent, we're so dependent on oil for everything that we do, and aside that, there's nothing, is there for us to really show that we've been producing oil for 62 years. Now, is oil a curse or a blessing, to Nigeria? Yeah, Mr. Ojeduma.
Can the other guest hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you now. We had a break, it looks like.
Okay. So I was asking if oil is really a curse or a blessing to Nigeria. Hello. Okay. Let me swing to Mr. Oseyiza.
Okay, so let me just quickly say that the bottom line is that it appears that it has been a curse. It is a curse, and I say that because of the way the resources have been utilized. Ordinarily, it should have been a blessing. I think we misread the whole situation. So the coming of oil, it led to the disregard for all other sources of income that we had. Now, the oil revenue is supposed to be used to fuel the growth of the rest of the economy, of other sectors of the economy. And we have a lot of examples around the world of how they have very carefully used wealth that they generated from oil to fuel the growth of other sectors. The example that comes to mind is Dubai, United Arab Emirates, as an example. If you look at Dubai, 30, 40 years ago, it was nothing. It was like a village, one road. I have lived in the Middle East and I saw how they have transformed that place. And they have used revenue from oil to develop other sectors. And then other sectors would pick up, and then that will help the economy as a whole. But what did we do? When we saw oil, we started to slow down the other sector. Oil is like free money. The reason I say that is because you just go get it. It's a natural resource, drill for it, get it and sell it, and the money comes. So it was easier money than money from agricultural sector. It was very expensive. The amount of work you put into oil to generate, let's say, $1 million is probably a fraction of the amount of work you would put into palm oil, for example, or rubber, or or other agricultural material, groundnuts, to generate that kind of money. So we missed the point. So we thought that because the money was pouring in, instead of using it to look at, say, how do we now grow other sectors? How do we develop our people in order to diversify? We did not do that. We started spending. And when you spend and you don't make money, when you don't diversify, when you don't build the economy, when you don't grow your economy in other sectors, this is what's going to happen. And this is why it has turned out to be like a curse today. It was not supposed to be. I believe that God gave us that natural resource so that we can use it to develop ourselves, not just to eat, not just to steal it, not just to squander. We were supposed to use it to develop other sector because it was going to run out one day anyway. So there are many people saying it's going to run out in the next 30, 40 years. Some people, even if it doesn't run out, we can see what's happening today with the cost going down, with other sources of energy becoming more relevant. So we missed the point. We just missed the point. It has been a cost to Nigeria.
Now, Mr. Ogbodo, are you there? Mr. Ogbodo.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Oh,
I'm with you.
Oh, great. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now we are looking at Nigeria at 60. Nigeria at 60. Now,
oh, yes.
Now, if you look at when Nigeria was operating through, regions, from the northern part of Nigeria, you have granite, pyramid, you have cotton.
Yeah.
Then come to the west, you have cocoa. South, you have timber. Like that. Oh. And you see how regions were growing at their own pace. You understand me?
Yeah.
For example, it was through the cocoa money that Awolowo built the cocoa house. Established the Western television. And the rest like that. Now today, even when we started depending on oil, when we abandoned all these cash crops, the development, that we saw was not like what it ought to be. You understand me? Though we might say, things are, moving, in consonance with the present time, development. But now that the oil is becoming something that is not really, in fashion, Now, what do you think we should do now? Nigeria is celebrating 60 years. Do you think we should go back to the regions, or what do you have in mind? As a Nigerian, that you think that we can do at least to bring that past glory back, again.
Okay. Of course, it's very obvious. The regional system worked very well back then because it was every region taking care of itself with what it had. And when you have to use what you have to get what you want. So nowadays, it's not even about going back to the regional system, but the true federalism thing. Every state can take care of themselves. So if every state were to be taking care of themselves with the resources they have, they will move at their home pace, just like the regional system. I mean, this is what democracy is all about. It's not about the unitary system. The unitary system we have is a problem we have because the center cannot take care of the whole. But if each state was taking care of itself, now, for instance, now there's a problem we have in Nigeria that the state governments, they try to control the local governments. But if we were practicing true federalism now, the federal government is taking care of its own duties. The state governments are taking care of themselves. Even the local governments will be granted their autonomy then. And then everything will move at their own pace. All these things they say about one state, some states cannot take care of themselves. Those things are not true. Let's practice this thing first. Then when we see the states that cannot take care of themselves, the federal government will be supporting them. But the beauty of the true federalism thing is that only technocrats will come out for public offices because they know when they are going there to become governor or chairman of local governments or commissioners, they're actually going to be working to drive income, to earn income for their states and all that. Unlike the system you have now, whereby Abuja just doles out money to governors every month and they spend anyhow, and so they don't have to work. But under the true federalism system, with each state taking care of itself, in just 3 months, I can assure you that we will be as great as America, Europe, or any other country in the world, because each state will be taking care of itself. So all the excesses will be cut away. All the unnecessary expenses for the senators, commissioners, governors, and all that, ghost workers, everything will be cut away. And before we know it, the country would have become so great. And maybe that brings us to an underlying problem, which is that the Western world, maybe they have a hand in all this because you borrow us money, we don't use it well, you keep borrowing us money. So maybe the Western world too themselves, they don't want the glory of Africa. So there are insinuations in some quarters that they are actually suppressing Africa's growth. You understand? Because they don't want a situation whereby Africa grows to be like them, then they don't want that. So we have to look into that possibility too, which means our own leaders are actually the ones not ready to do the right things. Because if there are some other countries that don't want your country to grow, then you have to suppress that and grow at all costs.
Okay. So what you are saying is that there is a kind of conspiracy to tie Africa down to a spot so that they don't grow.
There's no doubt
growing
about that.
Okay.
You understand? Africa is the dumping ground of the whole world. If Africa were to become as industrialized as Western Europe, the UK, the US, and then China, look at the problem America is having with China, that the president of America is trying his best to ensure that China doesn't overtake America's glory. You understand? So these things are also there. Our leaders are susceptible. They are naive. So the Western people, the Western leaders are able to what? To maneuver them, to do their bidding. For Africa to become great is the easiest thing in the world because Africa has all the resources, human and material. It's just using them properly that's a problem.
Okay.
So unless we do that, then we can never grow.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Ogbodo. Now let's now go to the nitty-gritty, of the topic for today, which is Nigeria at 60. Now, I want us to look at the struggle for our independence. We're going to be looking at the struggle because that is the beginning of the problem of Nigeria. The struggle, then we now slip a little, we tilt a little to military incursions, on the politics of Nigeria before we say goodbye for today. Now let us look at the military, this struggle for independence. Then we take it up from there. Now, my producer, let's listen to a few submissions by some of elder statesmen in Nigeria.
Touch Communications, your best companion in infotainment.
The whole country at that time was full of expectation because the entire people of Nigeria were united for our independence. And we believe that independence will build a nation that will meet the aspiration of every aspect of the society. We fought for the independence, we made sacrifices, and when we got independence, it was celebration all over the place. The expectation was very high, and I believe some of us are disappointed, but we have made tremendous achievements from the time of independence to date. I don't know if there is time.
Yes, there'll be time to take a look at the progress we have made and perhaps the journey we are supposed to take, but we didn't take. Let's get to hear from Chief Edwin Clark on the efforts to indeed restore power from the colonial masters to indeed throw up an independent nation. What can you say of the nationalist struggle that paved way for independence in Nigeria?
Thank you very much. Well, we have always had challenges before and after independence. Well, as Tanko rightly said, the struggle for independence. But let's go a bit further. In 1953, when Chief Anthony Nauru, of blessed memory, moved the motion for self-independence in Nigeria in 1950, to take place in 1956. When the northern delegates in Parliament opposed it, and they walked out. And they went back to the north, not wanting to come back. That led to a series of crises, before the London Conference, Ibadan Conference. So finally, we had independence in 1960. Even when we had independence, we had problems. Problems in Western Nigeria. Then we had problems of the coups and counter-coups. It brought Nagawan to power. Then we had a civil war, which lasted for 3 years. Then the military has been in power. After Nagawan, there was a coup against his government. Then
Touch Communications, your best companion in infotainment.
Now, welcome back. Welcome back. We're looking at the struggle for independence. Now, the first voice you heard there was the voice of elder statesman from Kano, Tanko Yakasai. Then the second voice which you heard was that of Chief Edward Clark from Delta State. Now, both men, they are 93 years old. And when Nigeria got independence, I think they were 31 years old then. Now, from what we are looking at, and what we've heard from them, you remember when Chief Michael Enahoro, when he moved for the motion, for independence, that was in 1953, the northern people were so, they never wanted Nigeria to have independence then. Why? Because the Sardauna of Sokoto then refused bluntly, Why? He said that those in the south, that they were more educated than those in the north. And what I even heard was that then the southerners, they have about over 300 graduates, while in the north they had just about 2 or 3 graduates. So that fear, of dominance was there. That if we should have the independence, the southerners, people from the south, they will dominate, the northerners, and that was why they had to, drag until 1960 when we were given the independence. Now you see that what happened then is still happening now. You can see that that fear of dominance is still being experienced in Nigeria today, and I want to put it to Mr. Ojeduma. Now, if you look at what is happening in Nigeria today, though you are based in the US, but you move with the trend of what is happening in Nigeria, on a daily basis. Now, if you look at the South and the North, you discover that educationally, the gap is still there, but it has been, it's getting closer, by the day. Now, do you think that fear of dominance is still there? Because you can see that in what is happening today, even in once you have a northerner in power, he wants to give more posts to those from the northern state. Maybe it's out of fear, or what we call nepotism, or tribalism. It's still there today. Now, Mr. Ojeduma, do you think that fear of dominance, because if it's there, there's no way that we can still remain, or we can say we are one? Do you think that the fear of dominance, that is the north over the south over the north, is still there? Because even before independence, you had Zik of Africa. It was they all wanted the independence at all costs. Zik had this Pan-Africanism, ideology. Awolowo, he studied abroad, so they have this foreign ideologies that they didn't want to bring to Nigeria. But the Northerners, they felt, as being, dominated by this foreign, or this imperialist. Now, do you think the fear, that dominance is still there today, Mr. Ojeduma?
Okay, so thank you very much for the question. I think in the very beginning, if you look at the time of the struggle for independence, it was like a wave across Africa. So whether we push for it or not, it was going to come our way anyway, maybe a few years later. So if you look at in the mid 50s, 60s, you know, country after country was getting independence. Now, but the problem was that the structure of the country at the time of independence, was it even right? The way it was put together is something that is still being questioned today. It was like a forced marriage between different parts of Nigeria, as it were, between north, the south, the east, the west. It's not just north now. We can sit here and talk about the north and talk about imbalance. But if you ask me today, the people who are voicing, you know, marginalization more than anywhere else is the east. Okay, so I think there's a lack of trust that has been built over time, mistrust across the regions. And if you ask me, I think part of it has been fueled or has been put there by, you know, politicians for their own gains, right? So is there imbalance? Yes. Is it unique to Nigeria? No. Even in the United States of America, if you look at the states, there are 50 states, but there are many states that are doing a lot better than others because either they have minerals or they have resources that other states don't have. They are rich states, they are poor states. But they do not, what they don't do here is that they don't spend too much time thinking of what state are you from, okay? Regardless of the state you are from, you can thrive in any state that you choose to live. And I think the way to go is to really play down ethnicity, play down where you're from, state of origin. I think we missed that point there. Where in Nigeria you fill a form, you want to get employed, in your CV, you have to put your state of origin because it matters. They want to make sure. Reason for that, but I think we need to get to a point where we start to downplay, you know, your region.
Okay. Hello? I think we're having network problem there. Okay, let me quickly go to Mr. Ogbodo because of my project is telling me that we don't have much time again. We have less than 6 minutes, you know, to go. Now, Mr. Ogbodo, are you there with me? Are you there? Mr. Ogbodo?
And then that way they'll be able to take care of themselves. And then that way we'll be able to talk less about where you're from. One of the reasons why we're still fighting about imbalance is still because of the oil. We have to go back to oil. It's the money today, the money coming from the center is just too attractive and everybody is fighting for it. I don't have enough. The North feel cheated. Oh, we don't have enough people. We don't have enough graduates. It goes back to the resources that is coming from the center. If you decentralize it and let everybody produce what they have and develop in their own pace, like Mr. Ogbodo said earlier, some of these things will go away. So we need to talk less about where people are from. Can Nigeria work the way it is today? I believe so. But again, something has to, the root cause is, you know, how the structure as it is put together today, and it goes back to the Constitution. That has to be taken care of before we can move forward. Mr. Ogbodo, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
I can't hear him anymore. Can you hear him?
I think they are controlling some things from the studio. I think it's the one who muted you.
Okay.
Even it muted me.
Òmìnira dé o. Polo, polo. Independent dé o. Polo, polo.
Yeah, that was the music by Fela Ransom Kuti and the Kula Lobitos. Before we sign out today, Mr. Ogbodo, are you there? Hello, Mr. Ogbodo.
Yes, I am.
Unmute yourself, Mr. Ogbodo. Unmute and talk.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, you can hear me.
I can hear you.
Yeah, now we have less than 3 minutes. In just 40 seconds, please. Where do you think Nigeria missed it? Where do you think we missed it?
We missed it simply because of the Southerners. The amalgamation of Nigeria, as you pointed out, wasn't desired by the Northerners. So in saying we must come together at all costs is where we missed it, because we had to concede a lot of ground to them since they were not interested in Nigeria. But we said, no, let's have Nigeria, and they were not interested. And that's why you have it that the Southerners, to gain admission into university, it's a high cutoff mark. For the Northerners, it's quota to get into the army, into the civil service and all that. So the problem is with the Southerners, we have to, if we are talking of, if we are a country, then everyone should be equal. So if a Northerner should be getting admission with a low cutoff point, then it should be the same for the Southerners.
All right.
You understand?
All right. Thank you very much, Mr.
Thank you very much.
Oseyiza Ogbodo is an author, a poet, and a blogger. Thanks for joining this program today. I wish to drag you back some other time. Thank you very much. And to Mr. Osareti Ojeduma, he's a HR expert from Texas in the US. Thank you so much for being part of this program today. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. And all right, thank you so much. So we just have to sign out. Let's do it same time, same station next week by the special grace of God. Your program, Straight Talk, will be back same time next week. My name is David Lucas. So long.
Yeah, my fans house over there. My name is presenter Oluwami Shonshon. You are listening to Touch Communications. Don't touch the dial.
Independent, ewa bawajo, ewa bawayo, òmìnira dé o, lolo, lolo, independent dé o, lolo, lolo.